No, I'm just kidding. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rivalries, episode 41. The rivalry, Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon, the ending of the feud, the real life shit. As always, I am your host, the one, the only, the king of timeout, Johnny Sinister. And with us on the call today, we have, right to my right here, we got Trek. What's up, Trek?
Not much. Glad to be here.
Okay, that's enough. No, I'm just kidding. And over here, as always, we have the legendary foul mouth Mike Bobby, or AKA DJ Skinny Penis. What's going on, Mr. Bobby?
Yo, yo, yo! What's popping my missiles? Already have.
I'm gonna lose my voice again before this night is over with. I can already tell. And as always,
pretty much,
it wouldn't be Wrestling Memories without the man, the myth, the legend, the salty diva, the Mr. J.P. Baker.
Fuck AEW, goddammit. How's it going, everybody? How is it going? I've been watching New Japan all fucking day.
And then somewhere in the background we have Miss Heather and Little Miss Wendy.
Yeah, we're here.
Yep, they're here. We've actually got a calm Wendy today.
Oh my God. So before we go into this, as quick thank you. I wanted to say thank you to everybody for the well wishes, all that. Thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate it. I'm feeling fine now, so I'm almost 100%. So, but thank you guys for all the well wishes. I greatly appreciate it.
Yep.
Hate it. So, with that being said, we're now getting into the part of the feud that I think is probably one of the more widely known parts of this feud.
Yep.
Dude, where it became real life. And now, to kind of give everybody a little bit of setup, Stone Cold was already kind of unhappy with the way things are going, ironically, creatively.
Because of the NWO.
He thought it would be much better if he would have went against Hulk Hogan. That's not going up against The Rock, but fair point to Stone Cold. He was the top guy.
Yes, he's the one, what did Vince McMahon has said himself. Probably the guy that is the most popular athlete to ever step foot in a fucking ring besides one other fucking person. That being Hulk Hogan. And they pit him with fucking Scott Hall.
Which Scott Hall was not in a good place. I mean, we're not shitting on Scott Hall at all.
No.
I mean, but the facts are the facts, and he even says he wasn't in a good place at that time.
Right.
So this already was some frustration that was building up. Now, it's unrelated to Stone Cold himself, but it does have a lot to do with Stone Cold. Do you think things would have been different with The Rock had it been Stone Cold versus Hogan?
What do you mean? As far as how big The Rock got?
Yes.
I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know. I'm going to be on the other side of no. About the same, probably. I think he would probably be as over as he is now.
Because, I mean, the fair point is that The Rock was essentially already over.
Yes, and I think it was a dream match. But right. Essentially, the dream matches that we never... There's dream matches that I've never gotten. I would love to have seen Hulk Hogan versus Stone Cold. I would have loved to have seen Stone Cold versus fucking John Cena.
Yeah.
Everybody sits here and says that The Rock passed the torch on to him. Actually, it should have been Stone Cold. And it was injuries. That's why I'm not shitting on it. Injuries did not allow that to happen. Everybody says, well, Undertaker should have passed on the torch. The Undertaker is always, he's been a consistent superstar. So when the Undertaker lost to Roman Reigns, I think the reason WWE had that match was not to pass the torch, so to speak. If anything, that's John Cena's job, to pass the torch. The face of the company is the one that fucking passes on the torch. Does that make sense to anybody?
Right, and in correlation today, I mean, it's a little off topic, but I think that's one of the major problems you have with WWE. John Cena really never did pass off the torch.
He has not yet. Once he leaves, once he has his last match, he will pass on the torch to whoever it is.
Now, so fast forward a little bit. Well, actually, Bob and Trek, what do you guys think about that? Do you think The Rock would have been as big, or do you think it wouldn't have really mattered?
Good talk.
Good talk, guys.
Well, I didn't know if Trek was going to answer. I think Rock versus Hogan played a little bit, but I think The Rock at the time was so over that I don't think it would have mattered that much, to be honest with you. It's like back in the Dream Match thing, I would have loved to see Stone Cold versus Goldberg. Like, I wanted that for so long.
I'm actually going to change my answer. I think Stone Cold should have taken on Hogan, not The Rock. The Rock should have taken on fucking Scott Hall. The Stone Cold was the man. The Rock was there, but he wasn't the man.
Trek, what about you?
I agree. I think it would have been, if they really wanted wrestling's past versus wrestling's present, wrestling's future, it should have been Austin versus Hogan. I mean, that's the one I remember telling my friends that they're like, who do you want to see?
That's fine, but the question was, do you think The Rock would have been as big if he hadn't have gone up against Hulk Hogan?
Oh, yeah, he would have been just as big. I think it's just, timing made it even bigger, but I think he would be just as big if he had fought Scott Hall anyway.
Yes.
Okay. This is how I really feel about it. Is I don't think it would have mattered, but there's no doubt that match helped. Mm-hmm. There is a little bit of credence to that match. Do I think he would have still been really over? Yes, I think he would have been a really big superstar. However, I don't think he would have been quite as big had he went against like a Scott Hall or Kevin Nash versus Hulk Hogan. So, I mean, to say that it didn't help his career, I don't know if you can realistically say that, but whether or not it helped him that much, we will never know.
Right.
That being said, I'm in agreement with everybody else. I'm in the camp that Stone Cold should have been the one to go against Hogan.
Yes.
So this spews a lot more of the issue that Stone Cold was having. Mm-hmm. Around this time, a guy that people seem to love to hate today, Brock Lesnar, when he first comes onto the scene. Hey, they're setting up for King of the Ring. And they're going to have Stone Cold go up against Brock Lesnar. The thing is, Brock Lesnar was a hot commodity at that time.
Correct.
Mm.
And so Stone Cold, which again, Stone Cold had a right point, is saying that if we're going to have this match, there needs to be a build-up. Because it was on paper, it was a huge matchup.
Yep. On paper.
This was essentially like The Rock with Hogan. Wrestling's past meets wrestling's future.
But Hogan, Stone Cold's problem with it wasn't that he had to take on Brock Lesnar. It was just there was no build to it. Why would you have, and I agree with fucking Stone Cold on this one, and this is kind of the problem today. There is no builds to any fucking feuds. So Stone Cold wanted to have a build. He didn't mind losing to Brock Lesnar
No.
in this match, but have a build to it, and then make it
Right.
bigger than what it really was.
And you know, you look back throughout this whole thing, even in just Austin's career, he had a well-known record for putting people over.
Right.
Yes.
He was known for doing that, so he didn't have a problem with it. He was just mad about how they were going to do it, and this leads to the infamous
walking out
of the company. If that's how it's going to be, I'm not going to be there.
Yep. Well, if I remember correctly, Jim Ross called, and watching the video, Jim Ross called him and said, "This is what we're going to do." And Stone Cold says, "This is what we're going to do." Okay. He never showed up. And it wasn't an okay, yeah, I'll be there. It was an okay, I'm not coming. Fuck you.
Yeah. Now, realistically, we don't really know what happens in between this time period. We know a little bit about what the... Clearly, Vince was pissed. They ran a whole deal about it.
Yep.
They did a whole storyline based around the taking your ball and going home.
Correct.
But we don't really know what was kind of going behind the scenes. As far as we do know, there for a long time, Stone Cold was not talking to WWE.
Right. Correct.
He was not talking to him. I mean, he was effectively done.
That is correct.
He essentially pulled a Neville before Neville pulled it.
But it was so, and again, it was okay for Stone Cold. Well, it wasn't okay for Stone Cold to do it. Essentially, they were pissed.
They were mad.
The only difference between Neville and Stone Cold is Stone Cold made them money. Neville didn't make the fucking WWE a fucking dime. Right. I mean, a little bit, but not. You know what I mean by that.
Right. Well, it's funny, but even still, with how do I put this? Is Neville was essentially the one thing you could not take away from Neville is that he was the essential backbone of the cruiserweight division.
That I will agree with, but it really wasn't the moneymaker for. It isn't really the moneymaker.
No, it was no, it wasn't a moneymaker. 205 Live has historically been very low ratings, not very good for the company. But the one thing interesting about it was Neville.
Yes, I will say that.
And so the parallels are similar, but ultimately, that's why I do agree with you. I think it's kind of funny that it was okay for Stone Cold to do what he did, and I think Mark Henry probably said it better than anybody. He goes, "I don't fault him for what he did. I fault him for how he did it."
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
Which, I mean, that you know, and it applies to real life as well. I mean, you don't just walk away from your job. I mean, and not face consequences.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Stone Cold's probably one of the very few people to ever walk off his job and be allowed right back in.
Yeah, because it played in so well to the story, which we'll get into here in a minute.
So initially, it goes for a while, and then the phone call comes in. JR, which you know what I find funny in a lot of these controversies. Have you not noticed that JR is often the one that mends the bridges?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I've noticed about a lot of these stories is that it's JR that winds up mending the bridge, and he gets Stone Cold to agree to a meeting with Vince McMahon, and Vince, he didn't know if Vince was going to punch him, didn't know if they were going to sit there, yell at each other, curse each other out,
throw each other out the window.
Yeah, they didn't know. He did not know what was going to happen. And all Vince did is come up and give him a big hug.
because Vince understood where he was coming from. And I think he did. Just creatively, it wasn't going well.
What was this around the time too that he went public?
No.
That's when Austin had his neck surgery.
No,
he didn't go public. I'm talking about this period of time. Was he already public, or he hadn't gone public yet?
Who, Stone Cold or
no? Vince
no,
McMahon.
He didn't go public until 2009.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's right.
Remember, we talked about that. Trex looks confused. We talked about that not too long ago, and we were saying, when did he go public? It was 2009, I think he went public.
Yeah,
it was long before that. It was like
it was when
2000.
You mean
4?
For stocks? You mean the stocks?
That's what going public means.
Yeah, because that was when Vince lost. It was Undertaker versus Austin. First blood match. Whoever, if Austin bled, he never got another title match. If
hold on a second. No, Trek. Hold on. Go ahead, continue talking. I'll find out when he went public.
If Taker had lost, if Taker bled first, then Vince was off TV. And the reason they took him off TV is because if you go public with your company, you go to the stock market, there's some sort of rule that between 30 to 90 days, you can't be on TV with your company.
Hold on. And WWE never went off TV.
No, Vince.
No, Vince couldn't be on TV.
Right.
That's why I'm asking, is this around the time that Vince had gone public?
I don't think so, because he was on TV, always sitting there with that whole campaign of Austin took his ball and went home.
Yep.
I want to say I want to say I just don't mind me. I caused confusion. I'm sorry.
And then they brought Vince back by having him beat Triple H that night on Raw or SmackDown for the WWE Championship.
Okay, just keep going. Keep talking.
Because that's when the time was up and he could come back to TV because the limit was like 30 to 90 days, I think. Because it was it was fully low that year. I think it was 99,
October
2000.
19th, 1999, Vince went public with the company.
There you
go. Okay.
So it was probably Hell in a Cell.
Man. It was
Who cares? Anyway, moving on. It don't matter. Anyway. It's not the fucking story we're telling here. We're talking about Vince and Stone Cold.
Yeah. So Stone Cold, they talk it out, and they bring Stone Cold back. Of course, he's going to get a monster pop.
Mm-hmm.
They have a little bit. They have a little bit of a feud together, but not really.
Right.
And then, because essentially, Austin's career ended not long after he came back. He had the final match with The Rock.
Right.
And that was pretty much it. So it was a very short real life feud. The kayfabe feud, though, has gone on forever.
Yeah.
That's the one thing to take away from it. The kayfabe feud never died.
No, never died. It still goes on today.
Even when they brought Austin back as GM, co-GM, when they went back to the USA Network, they still utilized Austin some, but he just wasn't wrestling anymore.
Right, he was more in like a GM role.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you remember, I think it was after that. Didn't he come back as like a general manager and was the sheriff?
Yeah.
To fucking Eric Bischoff, and Eric Bischoff and fucking Stone Cold had a match.
Right.
Right. And so from that point on, it was just a lot of more spots.
Right.
Pop spots. Right. Stone Cold giving the stunner to somebody.
Yeah.
Or Vince McMahon, or one of the most memorable moments is the night that he stunned the entire McMahon family.
Yeah, he even stunned Linda McMahon.
I mean, everybody.
Yep.
And that's the thing. Even at Raw 25, you still that to me the one great thing about Raw 25 was when Stone Cold came out and you realized that feud was still believable.
Right. And yeah, I totally agree with you 100%. I just, the thing that to take away from the whole feud is that, like we said, and we said it in the other two shows, is that this feud stemmed to other feuds. So if you look at the tree of feuds with Stone Cold and Vince, it branches off into more than just one feud. Because Vince McMahon could not wrestle inside the ring, so he used Mankind, he used The Rock, he used Triple H, he used
Undertaker.
He used The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels,
Big Show.
I mean, Jesus. And then them feuds stemmed off into one another. So if you look at the fucking Stone Cold and Vince feud, it stems off into other feuds, which we will get into in the following weeks, which we'll put a poll out on Twitter. I'm going to try to do WCW feuds. We're going to do WCW feuds.
Well, you know what's now some people would make an argument on the Big Show, but I still maintain that he is true in this statement. It seemed like the people that had a feud with Stone Cold through the Vince McMahon feud were all big stars.
That is true. Or became big stars.
Or big kayfabe stars. Some people will say that Big Show is kind of the odd duck. I still maintain that
agree.
Big Show was one of the most underrated, biggest stars in the company.
I cannot disagree with you at all on that. Anybody that thinks Big Show is not, if you want to tell me that Big Show doesn't deserve to go in the Hall of Fame, leave my show, because that man he's the last bastion from the fucking Attitude Era. If you think about it.
Yeah.
Well, this was one thing. Like, everybody always shits on Big Show because he's had a lot of heel turns, a lot of face turns. He's had some very idiotic gimmicks.
They've turned him into a comedy act.
They turned him into a comedy act. But you know what?
WCW didn't treat him any differently.
But here's the thing. You know what? I don't remember those crappy gimmicks that they had him in, or those stupid stunts they had him in. You know what I most remember? 2 years ago. Or maybe, I think it was maybe even last year. His matches with Braun Strowman. Yep. Some of the best matches
last year
we've ever seen on Raw and SmackDown with Big Show and Braun Strowman.
Yep.
2 fantastic matches. And one thing about it, it showed that the Big Show could still go.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what I remember.
Yes.
I don't remember all that bullshit. And that's one thing that you can say about all of them. Mankind. Good God Almighty.
Yeah.
One of the biggest underdogs ever in the WWE. You think Daniel Bryan was an underdog? They didn't think Mankind had a fucking chance.
I'm gonna compare, and to me personally, I don't consider Mankind an underdog, but I get what Johnny is saying. He wasn't as big as the other two. I get that. It was Stone Cold and Rock, and then Mankind.
Well, remember, do you remember Mick Foley has been on record several times saying that they thought he wasn't going to make it.
Yeah.
They didn't. They had no vision of him making it, and only when Stone Cold got hurt did they. We gotta do something here, or else we're gonna die slowly. And it was not Stone Cold that won the Monday Night Wars. It was Mankind.
Right. And that's why we vote, like, back when we were talking about the Monday Night War and we were talking about who the most influential, a lot of people want to say Stone Cold, Rock, Mankind is probably the one person that does not get his just due in that.
And I usually do throw them three right in there, because if it wasn't for them three, and I might even throw Triple H in there, because he was really up and coming then, and Shawn Michaels
with the formation of DX
would not have.
We wouldn't have gotten the Attitude Era.
No, I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. But I mean, Stone Cold and Vince McMahon, still to this day, is one of those feuds that you can't ever forget, because everybody will compare that feud to any feud. You look at any feud, they've even said some of the greatest feuds New Japan has had doesn't even compare. And Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega have had a big feud, had a good feud. And that feud doesn't even come close to fucking Stone Cold and Vince McMahon.
Well, there's times in wrestling where you have once in a lifetime.
Correct.
And I full-heartedly believe that Stone Cold and Vince McMahon is a once-in-a-lifetime feud.
Yes.
You're never going to be able to duplicate it.
Mm-mm. And they're trying so fucking hard.
Realistically, the only one that came even close to being a Austin era like feud was Daniel Bryan versus The Authority.
Right.
And even then it wasn't as big as because when you look at the longevity,
right,
it was Stone Cold and Vince McMahon clearly was the bigger feud.
Yeah.
But that's the only one that comes to mind that even comes close.
Right. If you think about it, Big Show wasn't the only one from that era that since was turned into a comedy act.
Yes, actually, Alpha has a very good point.
What is he saying? I can't read it.
He's basically saying that Kane is another one that they turned into a comedy act, when realistically, Kane is another one. And he's right. Kane is another one that does not get enough credit for how big of a star he really was.
Yeah, he'll get his credit. He's a Hall of Famer too.
But they did the same thing with him as they did Big Show.
Yeah. No,
we have stated it many times on multiple different on any of our shows on the Cold own show, that you could literally write a book, almost a damn encyclopedia, of how many wrestlers WWE has taken and completely screwed it up.
To name a few: Roman Reigns, fucking Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar.
Okay, totally off topic, but I went back and watched Raw. Oh my fucking God, what was that promo?
What did I say? Braun Strowman is dead to me. He's dead. I don't care about Braun Strowman. I don't care. I don't. They failed on so many. They should have put the fucking title on him at Crown fucking Jewel.
They should have.
And they fucking failed. The only thing that fucking Vince is thinking about, or WWE, or whoever is fucking thinking about it, is fucking lining their fucking pockets. Because the bottom line with the WWE is fucking money. That's it. And it's not going to hurt them. It's not going to hurt them. You want to know why? Because wrestling isn't the only thing they fucking do anymore. They do licensing and fucking movies, and they're going to make their millions, and they're going to make their hundreds of millions of dollars. Everybody thinks they're going to overtake the WWE. Yeah, okay. And I'm talking about AEW. I'm going to disagree, and here's why. because of all this other stuff WWE does. They're gonna be right in the mix all the time. And I'm gonna say this. It's actually good for WWE if they do put a dent in WWE. What happened the last fucking time somebody threatened the WWE? What happened?
Monday Night Wars.
And what happened?
Monday Night Wars,
And
we
what
got better wrestling
happened?
and everything.
And what happened? WWE crushed them.
Right. Now, here's, I'm going to speak on it, and because pretty much at this point the feud stuff is over.
Yeah.
We said all that we could realistically say.
Yes.
So this is my thing with, and I'm coming from this from the perspective of somebody that doesn't watch WWE anymore, at least not religiously like I did.
Right.
I felt like people misunderstand, like, I think people misunderstand me because a lot of people have been coming to me and be like, oh, well, it's awesome that you're actually excited. Yes, I am excited about seeing what these guys are doing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I am very excited. It's been a while, and we were talking about this yesterday. It has been a long time since I have seen a wrestling promotion get so much buzz than anything WWE has done. And these guys don't even have a fucking team. Well, I heard today that supposedly they have some in the works, but that's neither here or there. Mm-hmm. So I have a genuine, it's a curious excitement to see what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. Am I holding myself back a little bit because I'm like, well, they did this thing. The same shit was said about TNA, and TNA was a good product back in the day.
I made mention of that. I make mention of that all the time. Look at what TNA had back when they first started. They had AJ Styles, they had Samoa Joe, people.
Sting.
They had Sting, they had Kurt fucking Angle, and could not compete with WWE. You can go out and get Chris Jericho. That's fine. Great and dandy. That's a big pickup for them. But think about this. WWE let Kurt Angle go and went to TNA and didn't even put a dent in WWE.
No.
Now, right. I'm not saying that Chris... Because here's me. This is my thinking with Kurt Angle and Chris Jericho, and I think they had a feud in WWE. Did they not?
I think so, yeah.
So if you think about it, them two are... I put them right on the same level as being that well known of a superstar. Now Chris Jericho maybe a little bit more because he's still doing it.
I think with Chris Jericho you have to give the slight edge to him in the sense that he's more widely known.
Yes, but if you were to put him, look at him in WWE, and then look at Kurt Angle in WWE.
Right. Now, in WWE terms, yes, they were very similar. Maybe Chris Jericho edges out ahead. I'm talking more on a global sense.
And I get what you're saying, because he was really, I mean, Kurt Angle went to New Japan.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle main evented a Wrestle Kingdom. Chris Jericho did not. So that tells you that Chris Jericho... They thought higher of Kurt Angle than they did Chris Jericho. Now it's completely the opposite. I can almost guarantee you, if Kurt Angle went over there and said, I want to wrestle fucking Minoru Suzuki, you don't think fucking New Japan would be like, fuck yeah, we'll do that shit.
Right.
So, I mean, but it's kind of like that kind of pickup for All Elite Wrestling, is that Kurt Angle pickup, and they didn't even put it down. And I'm not saying that they won't here, but I'm doing a comparison thing. I just don't think Chris Jericho is going to make that much of a fucking difference. He's going to make a little bit, but I don't think he's going to make that much of a difference, because guys, he's almost 50 years old.
Right? He's not going to be wrestling.
He's
much
not going to
longer.
be. And that's one more thing. And that's another thing about these guys. 4 of their top stars that they signed the other day are almost 50 years old. Think about that for a second. How much longer are they going to wrestle for?
Right.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that they won't succeed. I'm just saying look at what they're doing right now.
I wanted to really quick divert because Alpha brought up a really good name, and arguably one of the biggest mistakes they ever made.
Mm-hmm. Damien Sandow.
That was the biggest fucking mistake they ever made.
And it was all because they wanted to get the Miz over. It got the Miz over, and then they released him.
Yep.
Well,
Not
they
realizing
released
they
it
had literal fucking gold on their hands.
Yes, they did. Go ahead, Heather.
They actually released him because he was more over than the Miz.
That's what I'm saying. They wanted the Miz more over, and they couldn't with Damien Sandow there. Excuse me.
Just like and I was going to try to save this to tomorrow, but since we got a little bit of time, I'll bring it up here.
Go ahead.
This change bullshit.
Yeah, it's not working.
You want to know one of the first fucking things I would have done? They really missed a fucking opportunity. Really missed a fucking opportunity. And I tell you what they should have done. That first night, the open challenge with Dean Ambrose, Elias should have been the one to fight him and win.
Yep.
They should have put the title on Elias right then and there.
But that was the night after he won the title, right?
Yeah, TLC.
No,
Yeah, it was.
It was.
The night that they came out, it was the night after the pay-per-view. I would have done it down like.
I would have waited like 2-3 weeks.
I would have probably done. I would have built that feud. That's what I would have done.
I would have put Elias in the title picture right then and there because, well, this is the one thing I'll give Elias for. Right now, he is the only wrestler on that program that is white fucking hot.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't. They kind of killed it off, though.
Right, because of Baron Corbin.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Put him against Baron Corbin. They completely misused it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of. There is somebody there. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's nobody right now. Drew McIntyre, maybe.
Well,
but he's in the main title picture, I think. I think he's going to end up winning the Rumble.
What I'm more talking about is Elias is the only one getting those monster pops. I mean, I'm not even shitting you. I could be sitting on the fucking call, and I don't hear shit. But when Elias comes on, first thing I can hear only one thing, and it's always walk with Elias. You cannot fucking hear a pit. You can't fucking hear any silence in that room.
Right. No, I get what you're saying. I'm trying to think of another. I was thinking, but he doesn't get a pop. He doesn't get a pop. But yeah, I don't.
Well, I mean, the only other one that you're not going to like it, JP. I know you're not going to like it. The only one that kind of still does is Rusev. Not to the extent of Elias, but realistically, he's the only guy on SmackDown that really gets anything.
I mean, AJ Styles still gets it. I hate to say it, I know you don't want to hear that, but AJ Styles still gets it.
Well, no, like I said, I have nothing against AJ.
No, I know you don't.
I think he's a phenomenal performer. I like AJ. He's fucking he had a boring fucking championship run.
Yeah,
this is the argument.
The way they took.
This is the argument that got me in a lot of heat with a lot of wrestling YouTubers.
Yeah, I I mean, to me, it wouldn't have if they would have done what I suggested that they do.
Oh, yeah. It would have been all worth it in the end.
Yes. Because he loses. Daniel Bryan is a joke to me. That promo. Who did you watch? Did you watch SmackDown Trek yet?
Not yet.
Jesus Christ, Bobby, you watched it, right?
Oh, that fucking promo.
I
that he
sure did.
Did you see the beginning? You seen the beginning of SmackDown, right? What did you think of that
Yes.
shit? Everybody said that was one of the greatest things about fucking Raw, about SmackDown Tuesday night. No,
No, it wasn't.
it's the same fucking thing. It's the same
Yeah, it
fucking
was-
fickle. Fuck
it's-
Daniel
It
Bryan.
was the
Anybody?
same-
I don't
same promo
understand.
he was always cutting.
I don't understand the allure to Daniel Bryan. It's the same with this Bianca Belair shit that they're doing on NXT. I don't understand the allure with this fucking woman at all. She acts like a fucking 10-year-old girl. And it pisses me off. It's like, can you do something with this woman? Change her fucking attire. Cut her fucking hair. I hate that fucking ponytail she has. Yeah, it has that nice whipping sound when she hits somebody with it, but good God. Get rid of it. She's not even fucking using it.
No.
And that's her
If you-
fucking gimmick. They're failing on all levels with Bianca Belair. I don't care if Bianca Belair beats... I want Shayna Baszler to beat Bianca Belair. You're not getting
I
me
do
to
too.
believe that Shayna Baszler is going to lose to Bianca Belair. Which
Right.
I see happening at fucking TakeOver.
Which, I'm going to go back to the circling back around.
Mhm.
When I think that's why you're seeing a lot of hype. Because I think, realistically, I think we can all agree that nobody is liking what WWE is doing right now. Serious fans, I should say.
No, I'm not liking what they're doing. The reason I watch it, I'm not giving up on the product. And I know Johnny quit watching, but I don't think he's given up on it. It's just there's nothing really worthy watching right now.
This has been my thing. It's not that I hate WWE. Obviously, I love WWE. Otherwise, I wouldn't be on Wrestling Memories talking about, or This Week in Wrestling, and talking about WWE and talking about these issues.
Right. I mean,
The thing is,
go ahead, Johnny. I'm sorry.
my thing is, I'm not entertained.
Yes, it's lost its luster. I get it. At certain things I'm entertained by. I'm entertained by the women's division on SmackDown more so than anything. If I could get rid of any, I'm entertained by Drew McIntyre. I'm not entertained by the main title pictures at all. I don't care about it. It has nothing to do with Brock Lesnar. It's Braun Strowman. I don't care to see it. I just don't want to see it.
Well, like, to give you a good example, when I watched Raw, I probably skipped through half of it.
Oh, I believe it.
I just, like, when I was like, okay, let me see this. Let me see what this is about. This match is coming up. I don't really care anything about that. I'll just fast forward to the ending and see what happens.
The ending, what they consider a main event isn't really a main event anymore.
No.
I mean, what they did with the women on SmackDown, I'm confused as to what they're gonna fucking do.
Well, like, give you a good example. I mean, this whole rematch clause shit, I don't buy it either because it's the same fucking people.
Yep. We talked about that a little bit on Monday and Tuesday. The change thing, it's not happening at all. But Tuesday, we'll talk about this more tomorrow, and this will give you food for thought. What do you think they're going to do with the fucking women's division now? Because Becky won. And I don't think they're going to put her unless she loses by count out or some other fucking thing like that. They're not going to put her in the Royal Rumble. So and so help me God, if they put her in the fucking Royal goddamn motherfucking Rumble and they have the fucking both fucking Charlotte and Becky fucking win, I'm going to lose my utter shit. Because all it's doing is rehashing what we talked about on Tuesday. The fucking goddamn Lex Luger Bret Hart fucking story.
Yep.
I don't care to fucking see it. Let one person fucking win. You're not fucking telling me a goddamn thing by fucking having both of them fucking win it. Yeah, both of them have a fucking issue with it. What I want to fucking see, what I should have seen, was Charlotte win. Charlotte take on Asuka. Asuka beats Charlotte at WrestleMania or at Elimination Chamber. Charlotte wins the #1 contendership to face Asuka at WrestleMania. Have Becky win the Royal Rumble. Have Charlotte take on Asuka. Have Asuka beat Charlotte and move her over to fucking Raw.
Mm-hmm.
It's that fucking simple.
Right.
But they done fucked it. Now they're probably going to have both of them win the fucking Royal Rumble and whatever. They cannot put the title back on Becky. They cannot. Because then they fucking ruin the goddamn story. But that's all I have to say about that. But we'll talk more about that tomorrow.
Right. With that being said, we knew this wasn't going to go. The feud wasn't going to go full three episodes. I mean, and we almost got it there, but
yeah,
we were close.
Granted, I haven't exactly been feeling well enough to really talk about anything, so we had to catch up on some bullshit.
Gina's in the chat. I would like to invite Gina, if she's not doing anything tomorrow night, to join us, because we're going to talk about AEW, I'm sure. Invite her to the show, if she is willing to, if she has time, and we'll talk about AEW. Now, I'm not going to shit all over it, but we'll talk about it.
This ought to be interesting.
I'm not gonna shit on it. I'm not gonna shit on it. I was gonna do top 10 champions of all time. I haven't even gotten a list going.
She says she's down.
Okay, sounds good. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. We'll talk about probably starting the call a little later because my mom is going to be in town tomorrow, so I won't be able to do the show normal time.
Well, actually, you might, because she's gonna come get me in the morning, and we're gonna go shoot carnival.
Shoot carnival. Oh, God.
Into beer.
Okay, whatever. We'll come swing by. We'll go to lunch. God damn it.
So with that being said, JP, any final thoughts?
To get back to what we talked about tonight, this feud is one of the greatest. Is to me is my favorite feud ever. I loved this feud. I loved the way it was built. It's the last great feud in the WWE as far as building, besides John Cena, Edge, John Cena, Orton. It's one of those feuds. Now, that being said, next week we're going to go into a WCW feud. Now, I'm going to fucking put 4 feuds out there, 4 of the top feuds in WCW. Now, we'll hit all of them, but I want the first one. Whatever one wins, we will do that feud next week. And I'll put that out on Twitter. I'll compile the feuds, and we'll go from there. But that's all I have. I want to thank everybody for being here. Sorry we haven't been here for a couple weeks. Johnny's been sick. I've been sick. It's been the holidays, so sometimes that stuff happens.
Well, with that, Trek.
I agree with JP. I think it's my greatest feud ever, and you can tell they tried to replicate it with Vince McMahon versus Shawn Michaels, Vince versus Hulk Hogan, but you can't. You caught lightning in the bottle once. I mean, that's all you could do. And the Austin versus McMahon was the one you wanted to see him kick his boss's ass.
Fair enough, Bobby.
Well, like these two gentlemen said, it's one of my favorite feuds of all time. It's something that we'll never see again, and I'd love to give JP a Stone Cold Stunner.
Right there, pal. Right
Well,
there, pal.
they've already said everything that I could possibly say about it. So with that being said, be sure to head on over to the Tattoo Mistress's channel because we're having Raging Ink tonight.
Yes, and go ahead. Who's gonna? Well, y'all are seeing it in the fucking chat. Gina's gonna be a special guest host for that. So yeah, we're gonna get out of here so that Heather can set up the show. And y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow night on Bobbitt's channel for a good discussion. It's not gonna be anybody fucking flipping out on anybody. I promise. I won't I won't be negative. I will do my best to try not to be negative. But don't say that AEW is better than WWE because it's not yet. Someday it may be. Someday it may be. But so just kidding. So with that being said, I'm gonna get out of here so we can get ready to start the next show. And I will probably be not on the show. I'm actually gonna be hanging out with my daughter. So y'all have a great night, and Johnny, take us out.
With that being said, guys, head on over to Heather's channel. We're going to be there in just a little bit. Thank you guys so much for coming out. This has been Wrestling Memories. I am your host, Johnny Sinister. Tune in next week when I find out when they fucking tell me what the next feud is. I don't fucking know. But anyway, bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Dusty Rhodes versus Ric Flair. I seen it.